So, shame is the title of this video because this video is about shame. What is it? I don't have the definition in front of me. I can only give you the feeling of what I think it is, and it is the complete and utter destruction of yourself mentally every single day, every single second of the day. And it usually has to do with something from either that day or that week or just something that ruminates for the past God knows how many years you've been alive, right? So that's what that is. Today I was at school, and by school I mean I was at the college actually studying for a good 8 hours, which is impressive to me. And as I was done studying, I was sitting there. I turned to the left and I saw somebody go into the bathroom. I was like, that person looks vaguely familiar. So I'm going to avoid looking at them because if it is who I think it is, it's gonna be awkward as fuck, right? So either way, they come out of the bathroom. I'm not looking. I do glance a little bit just to kind of see if they're walking fast or not, because if they recognize me, then I'd imagine that they would walk fast. Anyway, what happened between us isn't really that interesting. In fact, it was a non-issue that turned into more of a non-issue when it happened 3 years ago. So to get over it would be an understatement. Anyway, that moment brought me immense shame for one reason, because normally I think I'm somebody who really doesn't want to make people feel bad overall. The only issue is because I have a tendency to it's either A, not understand, B, sometimes just not care, and then C, just like really not have a grasp on like what the fuck is actually going on. I think it can sometimes come off as if I don't care, that I'm mean, or that I'm insensitive for whatever reason. Now, for me personally, I know when I'm being insensitive on purpose, because usually if I'm being insensitive, it's on purpose, but apparently some people, and maybe not apparently, but some people in your life and in life in general will see some things as like, that's insensitive and mean. You're just like, well, I didn't mean it that way. And then they'll say, well, I know. I was like, okay, well then if you know, what's the big idea? But anyway, maybe they're letting you know just to let you know that like, hey, it's fine with me, but with other people, they might shit themselves. Anyway, back to the story. So seeing that person brought me immense shame, and I was like, oh my God. And so to get rid of this shame, I think I do this one thing where I will think about an entirely different world in which I'm in. I would equate it to Fight Club, but it's really not that. I think Fight Club is a whole different area of like mental disorder. I think this is something that is still recognizing what the fuck happened, but also just being recognizing it, but then still avoiding it. Maybe people do this in general. I don't know, but I put myself in another situation in a whole nother place. Granted, I don't even know if that was the same person, so I might be putting myself in a box of shame for no reason. But even besides that interaction, I start to think about all the little things that happened over the past, I don't know, 10 years. I think about certain key moments of it. Like, obviously you can't think about everything and you can't remember everything that you've ever done. But I think there are some things in life where you're just like, oh, I remember doing that, and that was not a happy moment. And while you're probably thinking, well, maybe they understand, you're also probably like, you're also, you yourself are probably way delved deep inside of whatever the fuck that issue was, i.e. shame, that it's just kind of like, well, this creates a paradigm in which I am this person forever, and that's not necessarily true. Anyway, I'm going to give you a few more examples. So last year, the year before that, I was at school, and there was this person that I would talk to sometimes, maybe all the time. I would say sometimes. And then from my perspective, or from their perspective, I don't know. Oh, okay, before I do this, I also think that sometimes when there is immense shame, I kind of tend to, what do I tend to do? Although, it's not an accident, it's on purpose, but it's also valid through the, I don't know what this idea is of like feelings are valid. I don't know how true this is anymore. I think sometimes people say that to excuse their shitty actions, but I'm also just like, at what point is a shitty action made by a justifiable shitty day or whatever, right? I don't know. Anyway, this person, so from the outs out, they said that they didn't say that I was stalking them, but that's what the impression was when it was relayed to me, and I'm just like, wait, what? I'm sorry, I don't know what stalking is. I've never done it. I feel like stalking is something that like goes a level beyond like I don't even know what it goes a level beyond of. I don't even know what the level is before stalking. Anyway, so this individual thought that I was stalking them. Turned into a huge mess. The police ended up getting involved, so that was exciting. That's sarcasm, by the way, in case you're fucking stupid. Because a lot of people also feel like when I say these things, I like mean it. I don't know. I have this mindset of like the more ridiculous it is, the more false it is. But anyway, so yeah, police got involved. The whole thing. So I don't know. And I only saw this person once, but I didn't interact with them in that way. I was walking down the bridge or walking up the bridge. I glanced, I noticed them, but I was also having a conversation with like two other people. And they were looking down. So I don't know, but for some, for even after this whole situation, it's awkward as it brings some form of, because I got real pissed about it, essentially. I was like, what the fuck is this individual on about? Is this person a crackhead? Does this person know what stalking is? It's kind of like that thing where you're just like, oh my gosh, you think I'm a monster? I'll make a monster out of me. I'll show you. It's like when parents say, what is it that parents say that's also just really fucked up? Like, if you think I'm mean, I'll let you know when I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of like that thing where it's just like, I was pissed off that this individual thought that these interactions were counted as stalking. And then after talking to the police and other people about it, they were like, that's not stalking. I don't know where you're getting this from. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I was like, yeah, I don't know either. But I was pissed. I don't know what the fuck was going on with them. But anyway, sometimes I'm just like, that in itself, that moment in and of itself brings some sort of level of shame, but I'm also just like, I don't know what the I don't know. Maybe the shame just comes from being really angry about it. I don't know. Anyway, so there was that. Oh, so there was a thing long time ago. How old am I? Almost 30? Like 15 years ago? 14, 13? No, 15, 17, maybe like 18 years ago. I lived in a neighborhood, hung out with some two kids. They were younger than me, but I was around their same age. We'd hang out, play baseball, do whatever, right? But because I was somebody who, they had things that I didn't get to have for some stupid reason. And one of the things that I always did was I would take their things, but I would always put it back like a week or two later. So it would be like, it would be like embarrassing overall. Just like I think about it, like, oh my God. And like 10, 15 years later, I would just be like, I can't believe I did that shit. And I would like think about it all the time, and I'd just be super guilty about it. And of course, shame comes with that, right? And then maybe like 7 years later, after thinking about it, or like, anyway, sometime later, the Jets. Anyway, sometime later, I find them on Instagram, and I reach out and I say, hey, I apologize for this, this, and this, and they're like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's cool. I don't remember half that shit. I was like, oh, okay. So there's this other thing too, is like as time goes on, some people will forget things. And that's just something that might be a positive for you, might be a negative. And I think that also comes to the idea of like, sometimes what you're feeling bad about is something that the other person doesn't remember. So yeah, there's that. There were some other things, like I asked a person about sex and they were like, oh, then they answered it. And I was like, okay, that's weird that you answered, but sure, let's go down this rabbit hole. I know we have like 8 of them, but it's also 8 o'clock at night, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyway, they normally do this just during the day. I don't know why they've been doing it at night recently, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, yeah, so they answered and we had a conversation and I was like, okay, this is weird. I'm leaving. Of course, I'm the one who made it weird, but then it was a whole issue. It was like, okay, whatever. So that part I think one of the things is that it's just like there was I think there's this you know what, I'm gonna cut this part out, but anyway, so that kind of brought some or a lot of it, so that was just kind of like shame inducing, and so it was just kind of like, what the fuck? So, okay, so this video is about shame because it's about recognizing some things that that I have done and that I'm trying to figure out. I think most people would say get over it, but it's also just like it's very difficult to get over things that you feel like have made a super negative impact on somebody else's life. But then I think about little other instances where it's just like, they forgot. I was just like, okay, well, will these other people forget? I don't know. Probably, because most people move on with their lives. So it's up to the person who feels that shame to kind of figure out what to do with it. I think some people try to project that shame onto some other people, or onto the individual that they feel ashamed about being shamed. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting little conversation about like what is shame? How does shame manifest in people? And I think for me, shame has manifested in like some of the worst. It feels terrible. It's like a thing that like doesn't. It's like having cancer, although the cancer is like. There is no like you go into a place to get chemo. Now maybe I guess in that case it would be therapy, but I guess if you have no money, then you don't have chemo. You just kind of have the cancer. So you got to figure out how to deal with the cancer without the chemo, and that's really shitty. And I think a lot of people, I think that's what drives a lot of people to do a lot of really fucked up things to other people and themselves. And I think it also can inhibit your ability to perform later in life in certain things that you probably would be good at, but because you were in a situation that made you feel like, oh, you couldn't do it, or shame, or whatever the fuck, you're just kind of like, I can't do this. So then the shame kind of manifests that way. Anyway, and then there are also people who just don't remember, who remember things, and you're just like, you're trying to get over it, so then the shame comes back. You're like, bro, nigga, I moved on. Anyway, this video was long. I think it'll be cut down a little bit, but through editing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the question is, how do you get over it? And the other question is, well, actually, I don't know what the other question is. Guess you have any ideas? I don't have any fucking ideas. It's very interesting. I have the song Pain by 3 Days Grace in my head, but I'm replacing the word pain with shame, so it makes a little bit more sense. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Anyway, this video was supposed to be about people I don't like. And I think shame brings that amongst other people, is that it brings yourself to be like, I know who I don't like. It's you, nigga. Maybe not you. Like if you, like, I don't know. Like if you're black, I don't know. Anyway, I think you understand my point. And so kind of figuring that whole thing out is kind of interesting. And I think it gets more, I think everybody learns these things later as they continue on going through life, blah, 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 blah. But I think it helps to go through this earlier, because as you get older, I think it can manifest in ways that come out in the way that you communicate, in the ways that you don't communicate, and all these different things. And I think it's a very sad reality, because as you get older, the shame manifests more and more. A lot of those people either kill themselves, they kill other people, or they completely withdraw from life in a way that's just, if it was an alternate reality, they would be doing something completely different. Even if it's not like super amazing, it'd still be like, it would still be better than what the fuck they're going through now. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think also some of it has to do with the, this is the one thing that I hate, that I think brings the most shame overall. It just sounds, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. I don't even want to say it. It's just so, I just don't like it. It just feels so, I don't know how to explain it. It's really hard to explain. It's just, I gotta figure that out too. So like I think part of it is just like, I don't want to be the person that like makes that their identity. So I think that's part of it too. And I don't want to be the person who like says, it's because of this that I do this. Now, granted, in some cases, it's very true that because of this, you do that. But I don't want it to make it seem like I'm excusing every little thing is because of that thing, right? So I think that's the big part about it. But I think just kind of owning whatever the fuck's going on and whatever the fuck you got is probably the biggest thing. So, yeah. And I think the biggest way to do some of this shit is to go to therapy. But that costs money, and I don't have any of that right now. I live in a hotel. I was homeless for 3 months. I had a job. They said I wasn't good for it. They let me go. I'm back at the airport. Not living there, but working there. And so I got to get a second job, because the airport job is not going to sustain the amount of money that I got to pay every week to live here. So that's another thing. That actually doesn't bring me any shame. Okay, so the situation is depressing and angering, maddening. But I'm not ashamed of it, I should say. I don't know. I can't tell if I'm ashamed of it or not. I think that I'm just like, well, it is what it is. But I'm also just like, I need to do more with my life. I think I'm used to doing nothing. And by doing nothing, I mean just kind of living. I think there's a point in which I've met enough people around my age to which it's just like, yes, they had the benefit of having a whole family and living up and growing up in one small town and loving that, and a family that works and all that stuff. And while I did not have that, I still have all the tools that they have, kind of, and then just using those tools to make it so I can either get to where they are, maybe not even get to where they are, just get to a place where you feel like you are enough and happy. Anyway, that's what this video is about. It's about nothing else. I have nothing else to say. Any ideas how to get over shame, that'd be great. And don't tell me therapy, because that costs money. But I guarantee that's from you. Anyway, that's the whole thing. That's it. That's all I got. I got nothing else. Yeah. And I'm sure childhood, that's the other thing. I'm pretty sure, I think that some of the shame comes from the childhood sorts of things. And I think that plays a huge role into how I perceive things now about oneself. So All right. Goodbye.